local people, important issues. CBS 10 WILM's weekly focus on the Lower Cape Fear region. This is Byline Wilmington with your host, Don Ansell.
Well, once again, Wilmington will be represented at the Miss USA pageant, following in the footsteps of Kristen Dalton in 2009. Wilmington beauty Brittany York, Miss North Carolina 2011, is here this morning to talk about winning the crown this past November, the Miss North Carolina crown, and her upcoming trip to Las Vegas for the Miss USA competition in June.
Yes, sir.
What a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you very much.
I read, you know you're on Wikipedia, by the way.
I do, I saw that.
So folks, if you want to Google Brittany, just Google Brittany York, Miss North Carolina 2011, and Wikipedia will come up, and there's a whole boatload of information about you on that.
I know.
And I read that the Miss North Carolina pageant was the very first beauty pageant that you ever entered.
It was actually the first pageant I had ever attended, watched, anything. I had never been involved in any way with a pageant before.
What made you enter?
Honestly, it was kind of spur of the moment. I had an acquaintance that I knew from the year before that she did it, and I was like, well, she can do it, I can do it.
Did she encourage you to do it?
No, I just saw that she had done it. I was like, well, that would be something new to try. I'm always trying to kind of challenge myself, so this was just a new experience.
What did you, never having been, of course, most people, there's a whole world of pageantry out there, and people participate for years before winning. What did you think your chances of winning were when you first entered?
I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
I get that from my dad 100%.
Yeah.
I give everything my all. I want to win.
So
I don't
you
care what
went in
it
and say,
is.
I think I can.
I told of course I wanted to win, but I was dead set on at least making top 15 my first go around. And if I didn't win this time, then I was definitely going to come back and try again next year.
Really?
I decided.
What was it like to prepare for that pageant, for the Miss North Carolina pageant?
I looked into it. I called the RPM office. They're the ones that run the North Carolina, South Carolina, and Louisiana
That's the organization.
USA pageants. And I talked to them, got some information, put my registration fee down, which made me cry a little bit when I looked at my bank account, but it was good.
Is it expensive to enter?
It's a little bit, but you can definitely do it very cost effectively. People think that you have to spend tons of money, but it's not.
But you did have to get a wardrobe together and a gown together. And
I did.
Did you have any coaching?
I did, actually. I met my coach and my dress designer for Miss USA at this forum that they have in Charlotte every year before the pageant. And so I bought my...
Before the Miss North Carolina pageant?
I bought my gown off the rack at the forum.
Really?
And he told me that if I bought my gown from him, that he would work with me as much as I wanted. He told me, he said, you can win this thing. He said, if you buy this gown, he said, and come to my place. I went to his shop in Greenville, South Carolina, every chance I could get. We walked and talked about interview and everything imaginable. I was so prepared for the Miss North Carolina USA pageant that I couldn't believe it. And it is all thanks to Gregory Ellenberg. He did a phenomenal
Your coach?
job.
So you get down to that night, and you get down to the final what are the final two or
Yeah,
five?
well, they call...
How many contestants altogether?
There were 62 Miss contestants.
Okay.
So you do the opening number, an evening gown and swimsuit, the preliminary night, and then interviews the next morning, and then you go to finals night. So you go back to opening number, and then everybody comes out in their swimsuit again. And
How do you feel parading around in a swimsuit?
Okay.
Yeah?
I worked very hard on getting my body right. So
you felt you were proud to do it?
Pretty confident.
Not self-conscious?
A little bit. I mean, it's obviously a little unnerving to be walking around in this little bikini with video cameras and people taking pictures and watching and judging your every step and movement and how does your makeup look and your hair. So it is a little unnerving, but with all that going on in your mind, you have to keep a very calm, cool, confident, put-together exterior.
Is that from your coach?
This is from my coach. So we worked on that.
So they call your name. What went through your mind?
Top 15. I think I was like
top 15?
The ninth one called for top 15.
Okay.
So, every time they call a name, you're thinking, say my name, say my name, say my name. And so top 15 came, and I was like, yes. I said a little thank you to the judges down front, and then you go through and do another competition, and then they call top 10. And so I was like, all right, say my name, say my name, say my name. And I think I was like the third one called. Then it comes down to top 5. I was the very first one called for top 5. And when that happened, I knew. I was like, okay, when we do our little spotlight segment, because top 5 gets a little spotlight where they make the whole stage dark and they put a pretty light on you for a minute.
Right.
And I was like, I'll be right in the center of the stage, so that has to be good. So, you know, this whole time you're thinking, call my name. But when they're calling the final, you know, people for the winner, you're saying, don't say my name, don't say my name.
Because that's the eliminated name.
That's the eliminated name.
Right,
so
right.
it's funny how that kind of switches.
So finally, it was down to 2, and they called the other one who left,
Yes.
and it was you.
And Erin Hendricks, she was first runner-up last year, and so it was me and her in the final end. And I have to say, you know, I'm so glad that I won, undoubtedly. But if she had won, I couldn't say anything bad. She is such a sweet girl.
What's going on between the contestants is you have this image of out front everybody's friendly and, you know, supportive, but you think backstage is sort of, how competitive is it?
It's definitely competitive. I kept more to myself and, you know, just kept my mind focused on what I wanted to do instead of socializing. And, you know, there are some girls that, you know, they came and made friends and stuff, and that was great. It is very competitive, but most of the girls are really nice.
Yeah.
You have a few that are kind of...
What was the hardest part for you?
Oh, goodness. I would say the hardest part was keeping my composure after being called each time, because you have so much adrenaline pumping through your body.
Right.
I felt like I couldn't even stand up straight. My legs were shaking so bad, but it didn't look like
Was
that.
your family there?
They were. They were all there. My mom and my dad were there, and my grandma and my aunt were there, as well as some other friends.
Were you nervous?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to make them proud and do well and perform well. But I was just excited. Like I said, I went to have fun. I didn't necessarily know what I was doing. Me and Greg worked together, so I had an idea, but I had never been through anything like that. So I had never seen a pageant run.
What did your family think about entering and then, of course, winning? I mean, were they supportive of you entering?
They were very supportive. They were kind of surprised because
They were surprised that you entered?
Yes. I am a huge tomboy. I would rather
You hear this all the time
race four-wheelers in the mud. And,
Really?
Yeah, I just love being outside.
You don't look like a tomboy.
Let me tell you, I can drive a four-wheeler faster than any of the guys I know. But I've gone to dairy farms and milked cows and just anything to be outside.
Yeah.
I love it.
We're going to take a short break. We'll come back with more with Brittany York, Miss North Carolina, headed to the Miss USA pageant. Stick with us.